All right, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to unearth some more fascinating insights with me?
Always. Let's dig in. What are we exploring today?
Well, today we're going all the way back to ancient India. We're diving into a story from the Panchatantra.
Oh, I love the Panchatantra. It's like Aesop's fables, but with a whole other level of depth and complexity.
Exactly. And this particular story, The Loss of Friends, it's structured as a conversation between two jackals, Karataka and Damanaka.
Sounds intriguing.
Oh, it is. But here's the catch. It's a story within a story.
Ooh, I love that. Keeps you on the edge of your seat wondering where it's going next.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It all starts with a merchant named Vardaman. Now, this guy, he's obsessed with wealth.
The classic tale of greed. I bet this doesn't end well.
You got that right. He sets off on this journey with a whole caravan loaded with goods, but then disaster strikes. One of his bullocks, Sanjavaka, collapses from exhaustion.
Poor thing, I hope they stop to help him.
Well, about that. Vardaman, he's so focused on his riches, he just orders some servants to stay behind with the bullock and continues on his merry way.
Seriously? He just left him there?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know what the servants do? They abandon the bullock, too.
No way! They didn't even try to help him.
Nope. They see the bullock lying there, seemingly lifeless, and they're out of there.
Wow. Talk about a lack of compassion. It makes you wonder if that's how Vardaman treats everyone, not just his animals.
It really does. And this little scene right at the beginning, it kind of hints at one of the big themes of the Panchatantra. Sometimes the people you think you can rely on, well, they're only interested in themselves.
It's a good reminder to be careful who you trust.
Exactly. Now here's the twist. Sanjivaka the bullock, he wasn't actually dead, he was just exhausted.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right, he recovers in the jungles, starts eating all this fresh grass, and then, get this,
Oh,
he starts singing.
a singing bullock. Now that's something you don't hear every day.
I know, right? But this beautiful singing, it catches the attention of someone else. Pingalaka, the lion.
Oh, the king of the jungle. I bet he wasn't too happy about a bullock serenading him in his territory.
You're telling me Pingalaka is totally freaked out by this mysterious sound. He retreats with his whole entourage of worried animals. And that's where our jackals, Kartaka, and Damanaka come in.
So they're like Pingalaka's advisors.
Exactly. They're the wise guys, always offering their perspective on things. Now, Damanaka, he's the cautious one. He advises Pingalaka against rushing into the unknown.
Makes sense. You don't want to just charge into a situation you don't understand.
Right. And to illustrate his point, Damanaka starts telling Pingalaka a story about a monkey and a wedge.
Wait, a story within a story?
Yep. Like I said, things are about to get really interesting.
This is brilliant. I love how these stories have so many layers.
Me too. It's like peeling back an onion, revealing more and more with each layer.
And I bet Damanaka's story about the monkey and the wedge is going to teach Pingalaka and us a valuable lesson.
Oh, absolutely. All right. I'm hooked. Tell me more about this monkey and this wedge. What's the story there?
Okay, so Damak's telling the story about a monkey and a wedge. What's the connection to Pingalaka and that mysterious singing?
Well, it's all about warning Pingalaka against being impulsive. Remember, he's hearing this weird sound, and his first instinct is to go check it out.
Yeah, but as we learn from the bullock, things aren't always what they seem.
Exactly. So Damanaka's story, it's like a little parable. He's trying to show Pingalaka the dangers of acting without thinking things through.
I see, I see. So tell me about this monkey. What did he do?
Okay, so picture this. There's this carpenter, he's been working on a log, and he leaves a wedge stuck in it.
Okay, I got the scene.
Now, along comes this monkey, right? And you know how monkeys are super curious, always getting into everything?
Oh, yeah, always going to be poking around.
Exactly. So this monkey, he spots the wedge, and he thinks, ooh, what's this shiny thing? Treasure.
Oh, no, I have a feeling this isn't going to end well for him.
You're right about that. The monkey starts pulling and tugging at the wedge, trying to get it out. But guess what?
He gets his paw stuck.
Bingo. See, Damanaka's using this story to make a point to Pingalaka. It's like he's saying, look, Your Majesty, sometimes curiosity can lead you straight into trouble.
That's a clever way to put it. He's not directly telling Pingalaka what to do, but he's definitely getting his message across.
Exactly. And remember, Pingalaka is the king. He wouldn't take kindly to someone, even his advisor, telling him what to do.
True, true. It's all about saving face and using a little tact.
Right. So by telling this story, Damanaka is subtly suggesting that Pingalaka should maybe hold back, observe the situation a bit more before charging in.
It's a good lesson for all of us, really. How often do we rush into things without thinking?
All the time. We see something, we get an idea, and we just go for it without considering the consequences.
And sometimes that can backfire big time. It's like that saying, look before you leap.
Or, in this case, listen before you roar.
Exactly. And it all comes back to that idea of observation, which we talked about earlier. Remember how Vardaman's servants just assumed the bullock was dead?
Yeah, they didn't even bother to check.
They were in such a hurry to get out of there, they completely missed the fact that the bullock was just exhausted.
And look what happened because of that. They abandoned a perfectly healthy animal, all because they didn't take the time to observe the situation properly.
It's a good reminder that sometimes taking a moment to pause and really look at things can save us a lot of trouble in the long run.
Couldn't agree more. But okay, back to our story. We left Pingalaka with Damanaka's warning about the dangers of curiosity. What do you think he'll do?
Tough call. On one hand, he's the king of the jungle. He's probably not used to backing down from anything.
True. But on the other hand, he's clearly spooked by this mysterious singing.
And he trusts Damanaka's advice, right? I mean, that's why he keeps him around.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hmm.
Maybe Damanaka's story will be enough to convince him to be cautious.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm dying to know what happens next. But even if we don't get the ending of this Monkey and Wayne story, it's given us a lot to think about, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's made me realize how important it is to really pay attention and think things through before jumping into action.
Me too. And, this is just one layer of the story. We still haven't heard from Karataka, the other jackal.
Oh yeah, I wonder what his take on the situation is.
Yeah.
He and Damanaka are usually on opposite sides of things.
Right. And what about Sanjavaka, our singing bullock?
I know, he's just out there belting out tunes, completely unaware of the chaos he's causing.
This is getting good. I can't wait to see how all these different threads come together in the end. This whole story, it's like one big chain reaction,
Oh, totally. Like each event leads to the next.
Yeah, starting with the merchant's greed.
Right, which leads to him abandoning the bullock.
Which then scares the lion with the singing.
And then Damanaka's got to step in with his monkey story.
It's like a domino effect. Each action has these unintended consequences.
It really makes you think about our own lives, you know?
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
how many times do we react without thinking?
Right. Just like that monkey grabbing the wedge.
Or we make assumptions based on incomplete information.
Like those servants who thought the bullock was a goner.
Exactly. And just like in the story, those impulsive actions or those assumptions, they can really mess things up.
Sometimes in small ways, sometimes big ways.
But just being aware of that tendency to react without thinking, that's huge.
It is. And I think that's what's so cool about the Panchatantra. These stories, they give us this framework for recognizing those patterns.
In ourselves and in others.
Exactly. It's like holding up a mirror to human nature.
Right. We see these animals making decisions, facing challenges, and we can't help but think, I've been there.
Totally. It's crazy to think these stories have been around for centuries.
I know, right?
What do you think it is about them that makes them so timeless?
I think it's that perfect blend of entertainment and wisdom.
You're right. The stories are fun to read, but they also offer these really practical insights.
About human behavior, leadership, the consequences of our choices.
And they do it without being all preachy or judgmental.
Exactly. It's not like a lecture on morality. It's just relatable characters figuring things out.
And we get to learn alongside them.
That's what makes the Panchatantra so unique.
Okay, but what about the ending of our main story? Any guesses on what Pingalaka decides to do?
Well, unfortunately, our source material doesn't say.
Oh, man. I was hoping for some closure.
I know, me too. But hey, maybe it's for the best. It lets us use our imagination.
You're right. What do you think happens next?
That's a good question.
And think about it. If you were Pingalaka, what would you do? Would you listen to Damanaka's warning? Or would curiosity get the better of you?
It's like the story keeps going, even though we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Well said. And that about wraps up our exploration of the loss of friends.
But remember, there are so many other stories in the Panchatantra just waiting to be discovered.
Each one offering a unique perspective on what it means to be human.
And don't forget the lessons we've learned today.
About observation, careful decision-making, understanding other people's motivations.
These are things we can apply in our lives every single day.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, keep exploring, keep those minds open, and we'll see you back here for another deep dive.